Okay, let's give her a nice big round of applause because we can today. We couldn't do it yesterday, but we can today. And bring her onto the screen and see if we can hear her now. How you doing, Em? Are you there? Go on,
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Oh, hearing you. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, the Portuguese is in as well. Great to see you, Tony. I'm so glad we can hear you now. What was going on earlier on, Em?
Nothing. My mic was working fine. I did the mic tests before I joined, so I turned my phone off, turned it on, come back in, and this time it's working. I have no idea why it didn't when we was trying to talk before it started. So weird.
Just one of those things then. Oh, well, before we get into our conversation this morning, because I want to revisit the purpose of sharing care, because I don't think everybody knows exactly what goes on there. And I think it's a very important service, particularly at this time of year, which I'll go into in just a moment as well. We've got a weather report from the Algarve. There's snow in the Algarve. He's only kidding. No, never. Just simply sunshine and happiness. So well done, Paul. Good to see you. And that flashback picture of you in the pond. Did you take up scuba diving in the end? And James, of course, happy to see you this morning as well with a big M there. So thank you, James, for that. And Em, I wanted to say to you, you sent me a lovely message a few days ago. And normally I'll be just back with an emoji or, yep, a thumbs up or whatever. But it asked me a question, which if you'll permit me, I'll answer it now live on air in front of everybody, if I may. What I really appreciate and admire about you is your unfailing, your unfailing desire and urge to support and help people in the way that you do and how you have done for years now in Portugal, and how you're poised to expand and increase that where you live, you know, in your home and around your home, to support people as well. So that's what I really appreciate about you, and that's why I stalled and didn't reply. As soon as I'm given a bit of homework, it kind of puts a delay into things. The rebel in me comes out, and I'll get round to it. But this morning's the perfect opportunity for me to appreciate and thank you for what you offer to people out of the goodness of your heart, and I think sometimes at personal cost. But that's how you roll, isn't it?
It is like there was a time in my life, Carl, where I felt so helpless, so hopeless, and I didn't know how to get through another day just on my own. I didn't, because life can be so overwhelming at times when we have huge change happen, and it's like when change happens, we just don't even know if anything's ever going to be the same ever again. And I have this vision, and it's to help ordinary people like me, like you, in extraordinary circumstances, to be able to access the help they need, so no one has to do it on their own. That's simply what I'm about.
Yes,
it's why I show
really
up every day, because people have we have the times in our lives where we end up homeless, or we end up with a diagnosis, or we find out maybe that something's terminal, and we don't have someone to talk to, or maybe someone's passed away and we're like, oh my gosh, like this has just happened, I didn't see this coming, what do I do? And because I know I can help, I want to be there so no one has to experience that, because I know what it's like to go through it alone. I know what it's like to be stuck after having a stroke and be trapped in the four walls you live in. So for me, sharing care is really close to my heart, because I've been a Samaritan, as you know, since 2014. I'm here to help people who are going through something that turns their life upside down, to recognise there's still hope. There's still different directions, different things that are possible, so that together we can find our ways out of that. So sharing care is important because it allows people to honour their grief. We're in a grief-phobic society, And this means that we're not willing to acknowledge our feelings when, it's easier to keep a brave face and get on with it. And the thing is, we don't have to be brave all the time. In fact, being brave wears us out, trying to just get on with things and pretend that everything's okay when it's really not. This is times where we need to reach out and connect with our friends and community. Like through Good Morning Portugal, there's an amazing community just here in itself, where we've got people that genuinely just want to help each other out. So we're acknowledging through sharing care grief, which is the experience of emotions we feel following something that's familiar disappearing out of our lives.
That's quite an amazing definition, and that can happen, as you say, at any time. And we're not equipped, generally speaking, are we? Because it's understandable, isn't it? The human being is generally an optimistic endeavor, who might not want to focus on those things. And why would you? And also there's an added dimension to that. I think when you're new to a country, relatively new, or even if you've been here for a while, it's an event like that can really sort of bring you to your knees and remind you of what's unfamiliar and what's not available to you. And that's why I'm so glad that you're doing sharing care, that we're doing sharing care, and it's available to people. And why I thought it was, and thank you for your articulation of what you do there, and why I think it's so important at the moment. It occurred to me, in the noisiest, quiet country of the world. It's such a paradox, isn't it, this country here in Portugal, where on the one hand, we have this wonderful calmness that we love and tranquility and wide open spaces of very low population density, where there's a sense of wildness and connection with nature. And then over the top of that sometimes, or in between it, is the and the pimba music and the festa, particularly in these last few weeks of fireworks and music and muted and distant dins of PA systems. The Portuguese have been partying like there's no tomorrow, like it's 1999 for the last few weeks and months, really. And I've identified there's a little respite now between the last few festas and parties that are happening around the country before Christmas, when the everything festa will be fired up again for Christmas. But this period at the moment, I think, can be quite a big test for everybody, and particularly foreigners, expats coming into Portugal, being in Portugal, where the days are getting cooler and darker, longer, if you like. And we have an inward turn, don't we? That's the natural thing to do at this time of year. We try to keep partying, yay, and at the same time it's cooling down and it's getting darker, and winter's coming and the equinox is coming and things are turning, and our attention might be turning inward as well. And it's at those times where we might question our decisions and lifestyle and all those sorts of things. So I've written about that in the Portugal Resident this week, and wanted to let more people know that sharing care is available. If out of nowhere, it can sometimes happen, can't it? It's like a bit of the seasonal affective disorder. We didn't come here to be cold and damp. We came here to have the 300 days of sunshine on our backs, warming our bones, enriching our lives and lifting our souls. And when that disappears, then there can be a few questions. And who do you turn to if you want to have a chat? And sharing care, I think, is one great avenue to explore. If you can't quite put your finger on it, but something's changed, would you agree? Do you think sharing care is about that?
Sharing care it's just showing you that there's somewhere where you can actually reach out. We had a beautiful person join recently, and they just shared a few words, and people started talking. They started coming out of the shower and saying, yeah, I resonate. And it's not just somewhere for me to stick posts about where you can go if you experience bereavement. It's where you can go and just connect with other humans who have also experienced bereavement.
Mhm.
Bereavement and grief are very close, but bereavement is the loss of a person or pet, whereas grief is the loss of something familiar. So they're both very different, but both very similar.
Yeah.
So sharing care is very much about bereavement. And you need to be able to heal. We have to be able to feel. So being able to connect in community and recognize you're not the only one feeling those feelings, and there is no timeline on grief. The grief that you feel following any bereavement, it can last a very long time, but the grief changes. Grief is not a linear process. It's cyclier, and it's not something that people say there's 5 stages of grief, there's 7 stages of grief. It's bollocks. You know, there is every stage of emotion known to man. Grief is this whole giant umbrella of emotions where basically our emotions are okay 1 minute and then they hit us like a tsunami and can take us off our feet. That is grief. Grief is the thing we follow, like we that followed after COVID, because we lost connection. We forgot about getting hugs. We forgot about seeing full faces. We forgot about being able to sit in groups or meet up down the local cafe, or you know, there's so many things that we grieved as a society during and after that particular period of time. And that's a community grief, you know, that's a society grief, that's a global grief that everyone all over the world is feeling, that has been expected and experiencing following that, during and after, you know. So sharing cares for times like that, it's I've had a few, I don't know if you've seen them as well. People have come to sharing care and they're like, we're looking for a partner. It's like, seriously? Like, we're not about matching people up. This is not a dating site. It's just genuine people. By sharing how we feel, we're able to connect. Like, I'm able to connect with people and sit with them during like times in their life where they feel like giving up, because I've been there. So it's not just about the training that I did as a Samaritan and the training that I've done since that, you know, I'm able to join people about chronic illness. I shared my cancer journey with everyone here because it's so important that we learn that we're not alone and that other people know how we're feeling, and this is how we can go through this as a community. You know, we don't have to be doing it alone. We don't.
Well, the wonderful resource of sharing care is there, and thank you for kind of spotlighting our community as a way of connecting people in I think quite a profound way as well. We're very glad to be part of a network of people who are truly supporting each other, and not just finding mates, although there's nothing wrong with that. And over at Expats Portugal, the new friend finder might be a more appropriate way to find a mate, as well as putting an upside down pineapple in your Mercadona trolley, of course, as well. Lovely testimony. Thank you for those words, James. Sorry, go ahead.
It was just to say that when we feel, especially when we've just lost our life partner, we can end up going into making huge mistakes with relationships and stuff because we're still dealing with shock. Shock is a huge part of grieving process following a bereavement. And when we've lost something like a pet and we run out and get a new one, we can do that with partners. So we find someone we connect to, or we think we connect to, because we're not thinking straight, because we've not allowed our grief to process. We can end up in all sorts of pickles, like spending ridiculous amounts of money, or you know, or getting into a relationship because we feel alone and vulnerable and we didn't see it happen. So when we've bereaved and we've lost that person or pet, it's not about filling that hole with another person or thing. It's about finding ways to connect so we can empower ourselves and learn to breathe together.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So some useful insight right there without even having to go to the Share and Care site. Which, guess what I did last night? I thought, I know, I've got some admin access here. I will make it a little bit easier to find the Facebook group rather than having to put 27 numbers in and remember them. I've now shorthanded because I was able to. So if you ever need it, it's now, and this was available fantastically. /groups/share care PT. Nice and easy to find now. Thank you, Paul, because Paul's a very much a Yorkshireman and a straightforward fella. And sometimes I get the feeling he doesn't have any truck with, talking about your feelings and that sort of thing. Let's just get on with it. And here he is. Mamabear does an amazing job. Death is a subject we never discuss until it happens. Sadly, there are no rules when it happens. That's so true, isn't it, Paul? Her website should have a permanent position in GMP for easy contact. Okay, well, I'll make sure there is a link then on the homepage to get through to Share and Care to make it easier.
Yeah.
Point taken.
Can I mention my project, please, Carl?
Of course you can. Yeah, absolutely. You go ahead and do that.
So my vision for how, because I already help people globally, so I provide free grief counselling to people globally, or some people who are in crisis. They can come to me. I'm a mental health first aider, and I hold space for people in times of crisis. Not a problem, just message. I'm one message away, wherever you are. And I started this project called Creative Roots Portugal because I wanted something to share with the community. I wanted somewhere where people can come to and where they can just breathe and either take time to be alone or time to connect with other people or access one-to-one services with myself, because I'm a fully qualified MBCT, which is mindfulness-based cognitive training therapy. It's a cognitive therapy. It's about thinking and behavior, and it helps us feel into our body and manage our grief. So it also helps raise our self-awareness. So here at Creative Roots, I'm offering a place, or developing a place, where it's a drop-in centre for community that's accessible for all. I'm creating the gardens and stuff like that. So yes, I already offer, I've got my book out, which is Meeting Your Grief, available on Amazon. I think Carl had it on Good Morning Portugal through the website. And I've also got my own page where I deal with all sorts of things from chronic illness to crisis and things like that with Creative Roots Portugal. So it integrates share and care and allows share and care a place to be that's physical. So it's not just a virtual assistant or virtual help. So wherever you are in the world, at some point you'll be able to fly in and you'll be able to maybe stay here off grid and just be. So I started up because a lot of people are interested in having a physical place to show up and connect. So I started a GoFundMe. Oh, thanks for that, Carl. I started a GoFundMe to support the project, so that people can come and pay towards something that's going to be turned into a non-profit, not-for-profit organisation. So it's not about me. It's not about funding how I live. I do that. It's about creating something that's a legacy project for community, for everyone that will continue after I pass. Not that I'm planning on passing anytime sooner, because
hang on in there. Yes.
So I help, I have the full intention of seeing this and making it my life. It's my life vision. It's my life project to create something that will continue to serve generations, to help us acknowledge the grief and the death phobias we hold, and just meet life as it is, and share, are able to connect with other people in similar circumstances and find safe ways to express things, you know, through like art therapy and stuff, which is something else that I do
Yes.
on one-to-one, on group levels. So
All right.
thank you
We'll
for
make
letting me
sure.
do that
No, not at
now.
all. And how can people find out about that or support you if they want to? Find you on Facebook is probably the easiest way, isn't it?
All you have to do, if you like use something like Google, put in Creative Roots, spelt with a Z,
Yeah.
Portugal. You'll find
Okay.
me on
You see on
Google
the
Maps.
screen there.
You'll find me on Facebook. You find me Linktree,
Oh,
Instagram,
cool.
everywhere.
Great.
I'm
All right.
everywhere. YouTube.
Just search Creative Roots. Then couple of things. We've got Gilda coming along at past. Been lovely talking to you. Always is. A couple of quick things. Tuesday nights we have a Portugal club social. That's a nice, easygoing atmosphere. You've been joining us the last couple of weeks. Would you commend that to people? We don't actually get into sharing care territory, but of course we're
it's
signposting. We're helping people.
it's a really good community because, and I'm not one for socializing that much. Like I love my solitude, but this is a group of people where we can go and we all share our skills and knowledge to benefit the whole. We all have a voice, we're all seen and we're all heard, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful place to hang out and just be present with other like-minded souls. So I highly recommend it. Thank
Cool.
you.
Tuesdays at 8:30. Maybe see you this evening. And one last thing. I'm always shocked, and then I kind of unpack it and think, oh, that's a bit silly being shocked. But I can't help it. I met in the last few days. I've met 2 households. Morning. That smile. Hello, Batty. I met 2 households who are up in sticks and returning. One family to the US, one family to the UK, and I'm always a bit shocked because they're people who I consider as friends and in the network, acquaintances, and so on. And it always shocks me a little bit to hear that people don't want to live in Portugal anymore. And they have their reasons, of course. And in writing about sharing care and in writing about this time of year when people can get a little bit sad and things can change a little bit because of the weather and the general atmosphere, the energy, the drop and turn of energy at this time of year, which is entirely natural. But it's like grief and a lot of phobias about other things, isn't it? This stuff comes up, but if you don't recognize it, acknowledge it, or are authentic about it, it can cause all sorts of chaos. And I'm thinking there must be people who have left Portugal, moved, from anywhere to anywhere else, but have done so with an entirely self-focused thought process. And by that, I mean they haven't had a facility to reach out to someone else, which might have changed their entire course. Because it's actually, there are all sorts of reasons to move, but there are also reasons to stay put, aren't there? That might be based on a kind of compounded difficulty or an anxiety where you could rekindle your original relationship with all the great reasons why you wanted to be here. But a little course of
Yeah.
events and thoughts where you don't have a chance to speak to anyone else could lead to another thing. So is that a facility? If someone's thinking, I'm done here, might they speak to Share and Care and have a chat?
They can speak to me at any time. You see, it's like I say, I'm here to help ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
So when you're going through a period of time and you want to do something like a move, like a house move is a huge life change. It changes everything that you thought you knew. And even when you look into it and move in a really conscious way, really aware, there's things that will catch you. And we go through this massive grieving project experience, not straight away when we first move, but it's usually 15 to 18 months after we've moved. Because
Seriously,
all of us,
I didn't know that.
yeah, absolutely. There's a thing that, like, statistics out there, I don't know them off the top of my head, but the statistics that say that often when people move and start a new life somewhere, 15 to 18 months on, they have this drop, all of a sudden they experience these doubts and these thoughts, because it's like the honeymoon period's over. and all of a sudden you are living somewhere else, and life is totally different, and it's maybe you've not got to where you want to get to at that time that you thought you should, so you're grieving the life you thought you should be having, and you're grieving the life that you think you should have at that moment. And it's, the thing is, we are where we're at in the moment, and we need to acknowledge that and make space for it, and then see what can be done from this place of where we're at in the moment to change things. Does it really need to up sticks and go, or is it possible that we're just having that lull, and it's, you know, there's something that can be done to take us from where we're at now to improve our quality of life?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that nobody should leave once they've got here, because that would be silly. But there might be, you know, there might be things we haven't realized or seen that might come to light in a conversation, rather than just bearing it all on our own shoulders.
Exactly. You've got to, like in life, we've got to find someone to talk to that's not going to hold us and be judgmental about it. So someone that you can speak to without any judgment whatsoever and say, look, this is how I'm feeling right now. And someone go, okay, this is your truth. I'm going to completely honor that. And you want to look at moving away, and that's okay. And what will be the pros and cons of both? Do you know what I mean? What pros and cons of staying? What's the pros and cons and going? And is it just something particularly that got you to this point, or is it a whole collection of everything that's happened to get to there?
I would love to keep talking about this, because it might be, mightn't it, that it's a little trigger for something else that might need a little bit of a look, that might improve your quality of life, having looked at it. Maybe we can pick up on that when we talk next time. We're moving now from one great woman with her dog on her lap to perhaps another one. We might have Batty with M there, Mamabear, to Mandela with Gilda in just a moment. We're going to find out after we've played her music. But thank you so much. Lovely to be able to acknowledge you live on air on the Good Morning Portugal show. I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Meant every word. Maybe see you this evening, and we'll see you again next month, of course. And good luck with all that you're doing in supporting and helping people here in Portugal.
Thank you.
Abrazos, beijinhos, ciao, ciao. I'm not very good at that. My thumbs don't bend enough, but you can see what I'm trying to do, can't you? Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. See ya. All right, Gumper dust on the M there, rather than a noisy round of applause.